Okay, so let's do a catch-up on this. Thanks for stopping back. We've got the rudder mounted. It's actually mounted backwards. And we've got the stinger mounted. So what we ended up doing is we know that the boat measurement, we took the beam from here to here, and then we drew a center line. Alright, so we made a mark at the very bottom. It's easy to tell the center here. And then measured across, and that's where our center line is. So we leveled this. So how we did that is we took a level and we leveled the boat. Okay, right there. We leveled the boat, and then we put this on. We drilled the hole. First thing we did was drill the hole for the stuffing tube. We made it roughly 4 to 5 millimeters above the bottom of the hull. So that's where the bottom of the stuffing tube is. So the center of the stuffing tube is, of course, higher than that. Anyway, we leveled this, okay, and then we took a level and put it across there, and that's how we came up with our, so that this was square. That way when you tilt the stinger up, it doesn't make the boat curve one way or the other. It should stay in a straight line. So once I had that done, I had to figure out the distance between the center line and where I wanted the rudder bracket mounted. So what I ended up doing is I kind of looked at a couple different ones. I measured my other deltaforce 29, and this is a wider boat, so we made it a little bit more. So we put it at 30 millimeters to the edge of, which would be this one right here. Now the reason it's turned around is, as you can see, there's 2 blind screws or bolts that go in here, and then 2 exposed screws. So when you flip it around, I was able to take my digital gauge and I measured the, let's see here. Okay, so I measured, there's the, no, come on. Let's do it again. So there's 0, and then when I set that on there, should be 0 again. Anyway, so we're super close. I double triple check it. It's kind of hard to do this one-handed. As you can see it. Oh, there it goes. So there's 0. Anyway, I'll be able to adjust that once I get the bolts in there, because there will be a little bit of play. So the reason it's backwards is now that I've got these 2 holes, which are actually these 2 if the rudder bracket was turned around, and I bolted it from the inside into this side, so now I can drill those 2, then turn the thing around, and then all the bolt holes will line up. So that's where we're at today. So we're going to go ahead and get this rudder buttoned up, and then we just got to wait for the turn fins and the trim tabs. And then once those are done, we'll put those on, and then we'll go ahead and start worrying about the stuffing tube and positioning where the motor is going to go. So we'll do the motor first, figure out where we want to put that based on the center of gravity, and so that's where we're at. So we'll be back when we get to that point, and to stay tuned, we'll be right back. Okay, so what I've got done so far is I positioned the motor in the right spot. I measured from the edge of here down to where it bolts in, and made sure it was perfectly square in the boat. If you look in the inside the boat, I got the stuffing tube epoxied in. I put the shaft Okay, so what I did is I put the shaft in there. Okay, so that goes in there, no problem. And it goes right into the collet, right there. And I put corresponding sizes of tubing in there so it would perfectly line that up. I will give credit to Rotella. I don't know how you say that. That was an idea he had, so that was pretty cool. And so we ended up doing that. So Anyway, bottom line is we got the motor in there. So now what I'm going to do is I got a epoxy carbon fiber, chopped up carbon fiber and epoxy glued in there. I let it last for an hour. Should be pretty tight. Now I'm going to pull the motor out and I'll glue the inside of that. And then I'll make a carbon fiber brace for the stuffing tube right there. And then get that epoxied in, and then that'll be that. So then the next thing is I've got the rudder installed with the servo all mocked up. I had that mocked up. I pulled that back out to do the epoxy. And so once I get this motor epoxied in, I'll worry about getting the bracket for the servo mounted, and then that'll be pretty much the back of the boat. I've already mocked up where the battery tray is going to be, and that's going to turn out pretty well. So the battery tray, I have some marks right here. Boy, my camera's having a hard time focusing today. Anyway, so I've got this mark here was for the back of the motor mount, and then this mark here, I just don't know why that is not, there it goes. The middle mark is for the where the end of the battery tray goes, so that'll line up there, get put in the middle, and then I've got it set up to where I can put 2 batteries in here up towards the back, about to where this line is, and that'll give me the 30% CG. These are my CG marks right here. And then I'll get the battery tray glued in as well, so that'll pretty much take care of the inside of the boat. Then it's we'll worry about the turn fins and the trim tabs. Now when I set up this boat for the weight distribution, I had some extra turn fins. Here we are, right here. So I had some turn fins and some trim tabs, and these, the ones I'm getting, are going to be a little bit bigger, but I have room to move the batteries forward, so that's not a problem. So I threw them in the back of the boat, and then I balanced it with everything else in there, and of course the ESC is going to go here on the side right here. So that's how the boat's set up. Let me get going, and we'll be back for another I'll be back when I get some of that done. So we're making some good progress. We've got the stinger bolted back on. We've got the cable adjusted so that it will come out, slides in real easy, hits the end of the shaft and gives you the proper amount of play. So we can always extend this if we need to. We can cut some more off if we want to shorten that, whatever the case may be. We've got the motor mount totally glued both on the inside and the outside. We've got the motor mounted. We added a little strap right here to hold the end of the stuffing tube. So we got that all done. And collets all on there, so everything's pretty good. So the next thing we're going to work on is we're going to go ahead and put the servo and get it mounted and get it run with the rubber bellows. And once we get that done, that's pretty much all we can do for a while. We've got to wait for the new turn fins and trim tabs, and those are going to be about a week or so. So as soon as those show up, then we can put those on, and basically the boat will be ready to go. I'm gonna mount the battery tray absolutely last. The reason being is that way I can exactly fine-tune it once all the hardware on the back is done. Pretty much it's looking pretty good right now. And then we can get the battery tray, put 2 batteries on it. Everything will be hooked up here. We'll have the servo in, and then we can go ahead and fine-tune the distance for the battery tray for running 2P. So we're going to be running 2 4-cell batteries. Anyway, that's 4S 2P. So there you go. That's the boat. We're going to go ahead and finish this part of the video up. So as you can see, we've got quite a bit done. A couple things I want to point out. So I've got the ESC already mounted. I've got the motor mounted, and I've got the servo mounted. We've ran all the water lines. For the water lines, what I do for a bulkhead, so going through the bulkhead, is instead of buying those fancy things, I just use regular brass tubing, copper tubing, brass tubing, 3/16 tubing, which gives you a pretty good center for the water to come out. So that's the first thing I do. My stuffing tube, I've used a 9/32 brass tube, and I'm also going to be running a liner. There's a lot of ways you can do it. A lot of guys don't use a liner. You can use a 1/4" tube and run the 3/16 inside there. I feel that they're a little bit noisy, and they also splatter a little bit more grease. One of the other things that I've done is on the back. Well, first let's go with this. The motor mount. These motors, these Castle 1515s. This is a 2200 kV. They don't have enough room on the back because there's like this rubber piece here, and the way the wires go in, if that rubber wasn't there, if this slid over there, you could short those out. That wouldn't be good. But what I was able to do is at least get half of this ring on the back of the shaft, on the back of the tube, or the housing of the motor, and that seems to be good enough. It's still pretty tight. It doesn't snap off or pop off or anything. So that's going to be just fine. It gives you that little extra support. So that's one of the reasons I've done that. I'm using a 2mm stainless steel wire. I use a Z-bend for a couple of reasons. Number one, these servo arms are really cheap, and it gives you a little bit of a protection. If you did hit something really hard enough to where it jerked this rudder, instead of breaking the gears or something, even though they're metal in this, it'll snap that plastic, and those are a lot easier to replace than either buying gears or buying a new servo. So that's why I have it that way. I'm using 8mm line. These are 6.5mm bullets, and I'm using QS8s. We're going to be running the dual batteries in here. Now let me reposition my camera here real quick and just show you some other things that I've done here. So one of the things that I've got is I took a O-ring. It's a through hole. I don't even know what you'd call it, but it's got flange on both sides. So I just took a razor blade. I put this on a tube, and I cut that off. And I actually have that, if you can see, right here. Now the reason I do that is because even though the brass tube goes into about maybe 1/4 inch inside here, and then you've got the liner in there, when the grease comes through here, it can go between the liner and the housing, and this is kind of like a little seal to prevent some of that grease from getting in there. We did get our turn fins in as well, so here's our turn fins. We're going to probably install these. We're still a ways out from the trim tabs, but the turn fins we're going to use. This is what came with the brackets, but I really like these brackets. They're about the right size for this boat. It's funny because these turn fins that I'm going to use came with the lot bigger brackets, and I sent those to Big B for his big boat that he's got, that big gasser or whatever he's going to do with it. So they work out good for him, worked out good for me. It just gives me an extra couple of those. No big deal. So anyway, the bellows is all in there. 2 tubes. Everything's all in there. We'll get the once we get the turn fins on, we'll have the trim tabs probably in about a week, maybe. They're coming from Amazon, but it's one of those I'm not supposed to get them until, like, I don't know, the middle of the month. And then we'll just do the battery tray, and that'll be all. The battery tray, I'm using the wide one. Okay. Now what I've done is I sketched a mark, and I actually cut slots here so I can run 3 straps for a little bit extra security. Mainly because if I have to slide, say I want to run a single 4-cell battery and I have to slide it back to the back, I still have 2 straps to hold it. If I run 2 of them up front, I still have 2 straps to hold it. So that's one of the reasons I did that, and then this will sit right there. So that's really about all I've got to do. So the next time you see the boat, I'll probably have the turn fins on, and I'll have the trim tabs on, and we'll just go over the boat one more time, check everything. We'll do the balance, we'll put the batteries in it, all that, and then we'll go out for the maiden run, see how it goes. I'm also waiting for a propeller from Dr. Props for this, so I've got one of those coming as well, and we'll do a little review on that as we get along. So hey, thanks for staying and sticking around, and please subscribe, hit the like button, throw a comment in there, tell me what you think. Also, between now and maybe the next video, I'm going to have some decals on it. I actually got some chrome vinyl coming, and we're going to do a chrome windshield on this. I thought that would be kind of cool. So instead of doing a black, we're just going to do a chrome. And then we'll see what we're going to do for decals on that. But anyway, thanks for sticking around. Again, smash the subscribe, smash the like button, throw in a comment, and we'll catch you on the next Shop Talk. Thanks for visiting.